Okay, yes, we're having fun today. This is Bill McCabe, welcome to the Airborne class, and we're just doing some self-defenses against hair grabs to the rear, so everyone's hair is not the way it normally is, or maybe it is the way it normally is. We just have seen it camouflage for a while. But anyway, we're going to move forward with evolving your own self-defense architecture for cane, and we talked about how to do that in video 300, how to evolve a self-defense system within yourself. And we're basically demonstrating it with the cane. In the last video, we talked about how to become familiar with striking counters by working against a cooperative stationary partner. And after you get a good feel for striking counters, you want to have a sense of joint locks and joint techniques and how they set up. And it's the same deal before you try doing these in a flow or in a dynamic situation. You want to have the ability to evolve them just against someone who's standing there. Because if you can't do it with a stationary target, you're definitely not going to be able to do it with a dynamic target. So to that end, we'll talk through a few of the basic types of joint locks that you can employ with a cane. And then just use your own creative skills to evolve these into things that you like for yourself. But this will get you started down the path. So we'll have Terry come out first. We've seen Terry before, so Terry's with us again today. Joint locks, of course, are applying a physical dynamic to the body in such a way that it causes a joint to no longer be able to do what it's supposed to do. So in this case, I'm doing a quick move on Terry and attacking her knee joints. And by doing that, I'm destabilizing her knee. If you bring the camera to the other side, you'll see that the dynamic sets up as I step with my right foot into her. And I'm actually doing a walk by. I'm trapping the position. You can sort of see how that works here. There's a lot of leverage with this. The one thing you want to do as you research this is try to remember to do it as you're stepping with your right foot. If you step with your left foot and do it, the energy dynamic changes completely, and you lose the leverage against the target. Now watch. Okay, it's that profound a difference. So you have to teach yourself to do it one way and avoid doing it the other way. Other kinds of locks that you've seen elsewhere work here also. You've got the arm bars. I call these bridge bars. This is a bridge bar against the triceps. And I'm cradling her arm. You can take the shot over here if you will, sir. I'm cradling the arm. I can also do this empty-handed. And the way that I cradle it ensures the trap. Now, I don't do any of these as long-term holding techniques. I do them all as, when I do a joint lock, I'm taking a person down or snapping the joint. It's not like I want to take a person into a bridge lock like this and just hold them there indefinitely, okay? Because if I do, you can sort of see, she'll find a way to get out of it. And if that happens, of course, I have to modify my technique. So part of the reason that you explore these in a stationary fashion is so that you develop a sense of their flow and how one technique migrates into another technique, or how you have to bring up another technique to take the place of one that's beginning to fail, but also to remind you that joint locks using a cane are not holding or immobilizing techniques for any long period of time. You have to just keep that in your mind. If you go to a joint lock, execute it to its completion, resulting in a severe arm break or injury. That's the only reason you're doing it in the first place, aside from a temporary control. A bridge lock here, employing it against the collarbone. There's a nerve-sensitive area at the collarbone. If I go on it and go down, you can sort of see how I'm breaking her balance. Take the shot of her leg. Okay, so if I did this as a joint lock, instead of me breaking anything here, I'm affecting her balance. And now watch, I would roll it around, and as I did that, the lock or the break would occur here. Okay, same bridge lock dynamic, rolling over to the opposing collarbone. Okay, same deal. Here, I can roll the person forward, strike, or I can roll the person backward. If I roll the person backward, the crook or the hook of the cane becomes the device that I use to complete the technique. And you can sort of see the potential for outcome there. Say she grabs me with her right hand, the bridge lock against the wrist, taking the person down. As that happens and the hand releases, you have the follow-up counter if you wish to execute it. See here, I can pin the person to the ground. When you practice this, of course, we're being careful not to injure each other, because it is a courtesy for a person to remain stationary as you're doing this. Another twist on this is I bring it across, and instead of doing it as a break, I bounce the stick off of the energized lock and let it snap back into a high velocity strike. So I'll do this in slow motion because the stick wants to bounce back so quickly. I bring it down and release it. See it? Back up. Okay, now as I do that, another lock would be using a monkey, hopping over bridge lock to the rear, or bridge lock. Okay, and this is a high risk technique, of course, because you're working against the person's neck. So you have to use extra or extreme caution when you do that. Come on to the other side, sir, if you will. If she grabs with the opposing hand, actually grab with this hand first. I think we talked about this in strikes, but when she grabs with the opposing hand, you've got the easy strike to the groin. You also have the strike to the head. And strikes convert to locks or bridge techniques, which convert to takedowns. You sort of see how that would work. Okay. If she grabs with this hand, same deal. Here. Okay. Or here. This is the reverse of what I did on the other side. Whereas on the other side I was doing this technique, here it's okay, so you can see the energy that the technique has. It's loaded with potential, and you can explore these and under the guidance of a qualified instructor to see if they have any value to you in your path in the martial arts. She comes here. I can do bridge locks against a single hand, or I can do reverse bridge lock coming over. Okay, here I'm up against the ulnar, or the ulna, pressure point side there. If she grabs with two hands, same thing applies. I can go over, do the same move, or I can go around and trap both simultaneously. This is actually a pretty nice hold. And what I would do here in a self-defense situation is I would take the person completely down to the ground. See my left knee, it's in position for a strike if I want to do it. Or I would just flatten the person and use foot technique, stomp, or cane strike from above. Okay, come on up if you will. Got it? Say my partner grabs two hands to the front. A little bit wider, if you will, okay, so they can see that. Good. You can do the bridge technique here. Okay? You can do it as a release. Yep. You can do a hook technique inside. Now here, because of the way her balance works, see, I take her balance, I just absorb her balance a little bit. I've got her leaning toward me. I'm doing this with my body. You can barely see it. But right now, so I'm taking her balance. Now I'm giving it back. Now watch, taking it, see it? And because I'm taking it, I can take her down. Okay, now I've talked about how I'm doing that in some of the internal arts videos, which I've done previously. So it's a matter of breathing, it's a matter of sense. She grabs the two hands, I go inside, take her down. Okay, I'm here, there's the lock. Okay. She grabs two hands, I can lock here. And I can take it down. See, they're really constricted. I have to be careful here. Only because I have to collect dues from Terry. Terry has to pay for class, so until she pays, we have to be very careful. Again, that move, so I'm here, up, around, over. If I really want to amp it up, like that. Okay. At any point in time, just stand there. She's stationary again. Joint lock here. See it? Joint lock here. You can do this from the front to rear. Whoops, sorry. From the rear. From the rear. You can do them with or without the hook of the cane. Okay. From the rear with the hook. You can see this really amps it up. It becomes more of a throw at that point. You can do it cross body, around to the front. See it? And you can do it cross body here. Rolling it over and around. You can do a walk through takedown. And I call this a joint lock because I'm doing a takedown through the joint. Here, it's a bicep strike and biceps tension technique. As soon as I move my right foot forward, I restore the balance. Yeah. I'm not taking her down just as a courtesy. Again, I can angulate that. I can go here and take her at an angle. Again, the balance is affected by the angularity of the technique. Though I don't do them, I don't like to do them, it is possible to do four corners throw techniques out of this. We'll talk about that further in a second, though, but I just thought of something else I want to share. Come on, Francisco, step forward. Okay, so he's here. You have various types of arm locks that you can do. So in a situation where you go under the person, capture the arm, roll it back, and lock it. Okay? Now, if you want to roll up the amperage on that lock, take the hook, you can insert it into there. It becomes a little bit more of a controlling type of lock. I can also go from the inside to the outside. I can do a turnabout. If he came at me with his left hand, for example, so I'm here, back, around, or back, around. I can hit, take down, from above. Okay. Do the same thing from the left side. Under, over, around, and through. And as you come around, you can sort of see how that dynamic works, how I use the arm to trap it in there. And if I want to up the amperage, I lock it. Okay, and this is a good effective braking technique because it puts a lot of pressure into the collar joint. Steve, I'm going to take the camera from you. I'm going to let you demonstrate the four corners, if you will. And because I'm still dealing with an injured right knee. So, remember how you did the first one?
Okay.
Okay, good. Good. And then the second one was using the angulated head movement from the left side, from his other side. The cane would be in here. And this I shared with Steve today, so he's still a little bit rusty at it.
I don't think I'm okay.
There you go, there you go. Now, one more time. Okay, now just set the cane in position on the head from inside the arm. That's it, inside the arm. Now step with your left underneath his arm, drop to your left knee and come forward. There you go. That's it. Okay? Now, I'll give you back the camera. So, there you have a lot of possibilities to explore and consider and just do more research on. I think it'll be informative, and the next phase will take a look at some of the takedown moves also against the person in a stationary position, and then we'll start moving to where they're attacking you. Okay, until then, stay well, do well.